na sawuti konkoya na jafe asamaba na sawuti konkoya na jafe asamaba na sawuti konkoya na jafe asamaba.
And let me say this, anybody that will take money, receive money to manipulate the outcome of the election, anybody that will do anything to cause the blood of anybody to be shed, to kidnap anybody, to cause any kind of what I call organized armed robbery, to create violence, to cause anybody's blood to be shed, a curse will come upon you and all your descendants. Abu Kawasani, Kelei to Kawahani, Elhumba Mahasalaya, Awandu Kasalanita. Let their projections backfire, let their imagination backfire, let their expectation backfire, let their devices backfire, let their divination come to a halt, and yea, we intercept their enchantment and their incantations. Let it come to a halt. Bonaya Kusan, Kelu Tawahani, Ikafan Kawan, Ishundu Kali Amazan.
I am more of fire, Sanimani, Bobiati. Nobody want you to nobody is no waka. But this government, the Yakula, Sauti Concoya, Nature say, oh, fire.
Driver in Pimpim, share Nimusi a fire, yeah. And Pimpima ATA, our radio show, power 97.9. Good. Share Nimusi, Yaba fire, yeah. And Pimpima share our TVXYZ, share Nimusi, Yaba fire, good. Benra fire burn the chain near His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ekai, yeah. In fact, one my I want to swear, one my yenya a year a wretched chair. Say a chair so in your day, say a henny ha, so my Ghana, Nano a year kotuaba, to some pay a year na a year Archbishop Nicholas Danka Williams Ebway. Say Nano a year kotuaba, Abatwo, Yatwe, Yabuabua Manano, yes, I ye our coalition center, not the Chiman South. I am Puso Monona, and the Chiman South for New Common. Good, not the Chiman South. Etuakasa amanipa be say ye nwoche ahwe omonkwa and for the past how many years ni 4 years ni ya yenya say ye man panyi ade ka fransem ekwa akoma eye adehia omo adehia free mu ya yenya say ye man panyi etu anamo ade mpatasika bimpo ade akoma omo wo mo prepare ye ewa ya so was wo gone ya. Sans and Jenny no Busa question. A very critical question. Very critical. And my mampany Jomama by emotional. To the sense that Wobusa ye, but I am ya a tie nientia ye mampany po into an among and carry some and chebusia for. Oh, but I want to know Mediban Linke near Wakafa. Here say about one Womaba by. Yeah, was elsewhere Sudia. Say NDC. Adi atono wo so say afi we de Ghana fo adwenkyere wo beda in adi e wo abatuo mu no ya wo mbabo ho ban good to the sense wo bie kwan ne ka say mo santwefo se mo ana NDC damakoma so mo ana mo pese NDC esa ba ba mu ya e wo ya de se dwani bia nu won to aba ya mo ya de ya e se dwani bia nu an de won to aba it is say dwani na se o pese NDC sa ba ba mu a o betima ba no begentete ya na ya che okwan ya yetimi yedai efa so bom ma no ho ban good se ba bia yedru no e wo so bia policy ballot no good ba bia yedru no e wo so bia bo my Ghana that ho ban ya and that media encounter na e ko so nra no e ma sa asem wo so yedai e beto abonten ya e ya asem here fi say sabra yekoto aba no ene mfumso ya yehu say abato komisa guso a wo ye o so I am from so yeah na NDC atwe na adwen si so na no kro be yes a ti sa akoda yasoma ne sɛ wɔn kɔtɔ paano ɔmra a saa bɛrɛ na wɔn kɔtɔ paano no wɔhwɛ tv a yɛ so wɔnyɛ tv hwɛ no wɔn kɔtɔ paano no ɔbɔ ne hwene kasa ne hwene mu saa ba wɔyɛ dɛ yɛ ɔbɛkɔ akɔtɔ ɛno na ndc gyina ec kɔn so asɔfo a wɔtumi ayɛ no kama
good
and yɛnim kɔ no mu nyinaa mu no wabena wɔyɛ wɔn nyinaa mu no as Ghana for France and Jeff so ebusa John Mahama saa kwɔhye no ɛda di pefe sɛ Ghana for so meto aba no na NDC mu betima bɔ ho ban deɛ ba mampanyi tibi yi ano yie wo yi ano sɛn ɛde nsɛm no kan yɛ sɛ apart from say most and Jeff for mu betima aba no wɔdan na di sɛ ɔmo yɛ nteteɛ ɔmo teteɛ manfoɔ ɛna nkɔfo a wɔn de wɔn bɛtoto mmeammea yɛbɔ mma no ho ban no ɛyɛ nkɔfo a wɔn tira bɔ bewa wɔn mu nimdeɛ ɛwɔ abatoɔ nhyehyɛ ho
very good
so at least ɛno ɛwɔ sɛ mo obi assurance sɛ biribi sɛ ɛyɛ dɛ ɛkɔ so but obi ɔdɔ ɔman Ghana nkanko bia no ɛwɔ hu sɛ 2024 abatoɔ wei ɛyɛ yɛn nyinaa yasɛdeɛ
ɛyɛ yɛn nyinaa ɛnyɛ ɔbaakofo ɛnyɛ ndisifo nkuto
yes
ɛyɛ Ghanafo ɛna wɔ sɛ yɛhwɛ sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛbɛ play a role na nea yɛrehwɛ no yɛn nsa tumi aka ɛsiane sɛ yɛn anyɛ ne saa nea yɛwɔ mu turukan yi nea yɛwɔ mu a yɛsi kasɛm asɛe nea yɛwɔ mu a ɛnɛ wokɔ atemmua adwuma no mu a obi chief justice na ɛbɛtumi asi gyina sɛ yɛnkɔpɛ nnipa bi ɛba hɔ nom no ɛyɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛasɛde
fantastic ɛti deɛ ne ɛwɔ mu deɛ ɛwɔ mu saa berɛ yi ɛyɛ to a ho hia yɛde abɛto yɛ so deɛ ɛwɔ mu saa berɛ yi yɛ toɔ bebrebe a yɛde ato yɛ so a yɛnhunu yɛn ho ano deɛ ɛwɔ mu saa berɛ yi yɛ toɔ bi a yɛde abɛtoto yɛ so a yɛnhunu so mfa soɔ firi sɛ aban ne nan na di ɛwɔ n'anammɔntuo mu ɛne n'adwumayɔ mu sɛ ɛmfasodeɛ bi afiri yɛ toɔ mu aba ɛne yɛgyinagyina yɛ kɔn so yɛkɔ sotɔ ne yɛbie yɛ sotɔ a na GRFo gyinagyina yɛ kɔn so na naano yɛ a wɔde bɛyɛ politics na sɛ ɔmu twa abɔ ɔmu ho ne wawo ba wo mia wɔn na ahyɛ sɛ Ghana Revenue Authority wɔn ni saa adwuma no wɔn na ama ɔmu kwan so ɔmu nyɛ saa adwuma no na wahyɛ ase atwa bɔ ɔmu sɛ ɛde na ɔmu gyinagyina nkɔfoɔ kɔn so ɛto gyingyan na mode abɛto yɛ soro His Excellency John Mahama ɛberɛ a yɛbusa no saa asɛm no wɔdan no adi te sɛ deɛ Ghanafoɔ akyerɛ ɔma adwene no sɛ toɔ no bi wɔ hɔ a ɛso ne mfasoɔ
ne so
ɛneɛ nti a amanfoɔ kasa ɛtoɔ gyegyeɛ no ho ɛne sɛ yɛhunu deɛ ɛfiri mu ba ɛtoɔ bɛbrɛbɛ wɔ nyinaa akyie na yɛsan wɔ IMF ɛtoɔ bɛbrɛbɛ ne boseabɔ bɛbrɛbɛ wɔ nyinaa akyie na yɛsan wɔ IMF Ghanafoɔ so ɔmodwe wɔ mo nti aseɛ deɛ His Excellency John Mahama ɛka fa ahonie hwadeɛ wei
Ghana kane na yɛsɛ yɛyɛ favorite destination for investment ɛne sɛ na yɛ taxes ne levies ɛwɔ fam kakra nso afei nso deɛ ɛm sɛ sɛnea aban ama yɛ economy no ahwe ase no IMF program a ɔmo kɔɔ mu no IMF aka kyerɛ ɔmo sɛ yɛto a yɛgye anaasɛ revenue a yɛnya no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛpagya ɛkɔduru 24%. Kane ne ɛwɔ 15%. Taxes a ɔmo de ato yɛ so yi apagya yɛ aba 17.something%. Nso ɔmo sɛ by 2028 ɛwɔ sɛ yɛduru 24%. Nti ɛkyɛ sɛ ɔmo nya wie saa taxes na ɔmo de gu yɛ so no ɛnya ɛnru pɛmpɛn so a yɛbɛka sɛ ɔmo awie. Enti na ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo de VAT ɛto electricity so. That was one of the reasons. Nso ɛnyɛ sɛ TUC mu ɛkɔ tia yɛ a anka by now electricity bill bia anka VAT ɛda so. Yɛnkoa ne ɔman a ɛwɔ wiase ha nyinaa a ɛkyɛ sɛ yare aba ɛkɔ a yɛgye yɛtoɔ ɛfa saa yare no ho COVID levy. COVID aba ɛkɔ China baby COVID efiri mpo yɛngye ɔmo COVID levy. Nso Ghana nkoa ne yɛgye COVID levy. Nti saa nneɛma no wohwɛ emissions tax ɛne saa taxes ne nyinaa ɛyɛ to a aban ɛde to yɛ so as a result of IMF agreement a ɔmo ayɛ. Nti na obi ka sɛ meba a metwa ɛtoɔ no mu wowɔ aban no mu sisi a sɛ wobɛtumi atwa toɔ no mu a hyɛ ase mɛtwa ɛnam ato ɛtoɔ no mba from ne ehu na nka sɛ ɔmo ntoma mmiɛnsa meba a saa ɛtoɔ yi menyi efi hɔ. Enti nyawoka no ne nokorɛ no no one of the things I bear is say you best streamline VAT because menti aseɛ sɛ wobɛkɔ edwom
na nkrofo mmiɛnsa ɛtɔn adeɛ baako ɛyɛ VAT 3%, baako ne VAT ɛwɔ soro kakra, baako nso VAT yɛ 21%. Meanwhile, omina the same customers. Enti sɛ me ba wɔ hɔ na wobɛgye me VAT 21% a mɛkɔ ne ɔbɛgye me 3% no. Enti I'll see a streamlining so that traders will pay the same rate in terms of value added tax. Afei nso wokɔ port hɔ a sɛnea wokae no Toyota Vitz. Ɛda no mene gutafo hyiaeɛ. Mefa an example of car bi a obia import ɛna mekae levies and taxes ɛwɔ so. About 23 levies and taxes. Sɛ woka sɛ duty ɛne saa nneɛma na ɛno yɛwɔ harmonized ECOWAS tariffs nti duty no wontumi nyɛ ho hwee. But the problem the levies and port charges ebi are illegal. Nti na me say we rationalize all those levies. Ni eni sɛ ɛwɔ hɔ no yɛbɛyi efiri hɔ. Sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a ɛbɛma toɔ no aba from kakra. But the major thing I was saying is we have to stabilize the currency because it will affect BBR. One of the reasons Uncle Fuisu and they said this week Ubeko now
Yesika na your friend CD no. Basabre bra man for bra ya. Aye 2 year da ya consoi. Et wono dwadini no. Oye tua VAT ya. Rate I nam ha. Nani nua ba ko so tua de no so number before President Mahama se wo ba. Ya. Wo be ye nsiesie. Na ni nyina gyina faako. Obia betua pepepe. Ye betua pe. Insisi bia nkobem. Akra de wo betua no abi na metua. You. Ena tuo na yamfa mrakwa so. Ye de abetoto Ghana for so no. Mampanyi say de deda no ma bebre so aya na ye kraba memu ha no. Mampanyi Joma Mahama so wo ba. Sa no mani you obey free ho obey streamline obey rationalize obey matwo no agina yie said the be emfa adesua bi nyadai emesua Ghana ni no good enti otie na o say eto na wo soro no obetumi aya na ye na twato no so na mra fam no or refer to baumia na America say a bit is a emission tax and then the home kro no be ya omo ankasa na de bae afi ya wo petumi no wadane ho bosome akotre abedane ho bio abeka kire se yeto aba mawa ena be ye furu ade wa sabra ye kasa wo akonya any to me so betu sade no wana mo good the obeti wakasa sa eye Joma Mahama se ono woni aban mu good I mean you sure say ka Joma Mahama wa aban mu ka sade no mpo no wonye nka wonye Joma Mahama and these are the same people no more opposition no more target Joma Mahama say what charging nuisance taxes are shouldn't fast and now what the yadie kwade wo coronavirus etwaba eno eye sensible tax yare nso kan ni hobiom eye sensible tax yes be ni emission tax emusuo kumoto eye sensible tax debi Mahama so oba oba streamline no oba enhiheri ye na nyina ayetima dey ejira fako na ade so ba ko a eda ye nyina ye so wabra ye kra no ma ba wabra ye ditwa wo ye memwa eye ye sidi na ho den awo ye sidi na ho den in 2016 ye ka che say aye hata wo Santa Maria mampanyi den eye mampanyi sabre na nado danko akufuado so candidate akufuado den I catch a Ghana for say Santa Maria when you go work ratao when you radio so na muti every when your TV so na moshe when you monia gani fili mini ya musu muni me catch am say said you see the nasi I hata no and nothing na me de ba omi dey eba ene see the net be at say His Excellency Joma Mahama say o kwan bi a obefa so a wo be niye sa kwan ni niye
both domestic and international investors is that we're ready to change the current trajectory on which we are. I think that if we hold a successful election, we demonstrate to the world and our people that we're willing to change this trajectory on which we are, that is leading us further into the abyss. It will restore confidence in the economy. That in itself will send a signal that stabilizes the foreign exchange. Currently, nobody has hope in where we're going. And so people are hedging because of the rate of deterioration of the value of the cedi. People are hedging for other foreign currencies. And when it happens like that, then it puts further pressure on the currency. And so we would instill fiscal discipline, because eventually the main driver of the economy is fiscal discipline and fiscal consolidation. And so if you only want to ramp up revenues, but you're not willing to cut expenditures, then you have a situation where your budget deficit is out of kilter. And as you know, we had a budget deficit that went as high as 15% of GDP. And unless we instill fiscal discipline, we'll continue to have a situation where it puts pressure on our currency. It's like a household budget. You cannot spend more than you earn. And that is what this government has been. Spending more money than they earn. Borrowing more money than they can afford to pay. And that is what has, created the situation in which we are. So we must reduce the deficit. We must instill fiscal discipline. We must reduce the debt burden. And already there is a debt restructuring going on. And so we must continue the debt restructuring, but make sure that we put in the buffers so that we don't fall into this situation again. In my administration, we set up what we call the sinking fund, and we capped the stabilization fund. So any excess money that was above what you go to the stabilization fund went into the sinking fund. We also committed other revenues into the sinking fund so that we could anticipate debts that were becoming due and pay them. This government came and depleted the sinking fund and did not replenish it. And that is how come that we are in the crisis in which we currently are. And so replace the sinking fund, create more buffers so that the economy is more resilient to shocks. The thing about the world is it's unpredictable and shocks will come. But it is how resilient your economy is that will make you be able to come out of the shocks. We all went into the shock together with Cote d'Ivoire. Today our economy is so battered and bruised. And Cote d'Ivoire's economy is much more stable. And I just saw a video of the president waxing lyrical about Cote d'Ivoire in 2016. Today, I don't think he wants to hear that comparison, because inflation is lower in Cote d'Ivoire, far lower, single digit. And our inflation is at 25%. It went as high as 54%. And so discipline is important. But apart from that, part of the reason we're suffering is the collapse of the cocoa sector. Cocoa has been a traditional pillar of this economy. And when I was leaving office, we did a syndication, cocoa syndication of $1.8 billion.
And until that, your friend Dr. Peter Boama Otukonowoye, NDC Interparty and CSO's Relations Officer, and Officer of Socio-Agricultural Economists. What tiny CSOs need in common? What tiny CSOs need here? Yeah. Almost 7 years sure say Dodo na President Mahama Brobroso. But the OTS here, yet a year with Teukwanswa. Now what Kasafa Kwanya, you bet one faso. Now you see the Nanya one day. Yeah. Was it no money beer? I'm your bedroom baby, you drew, and they say, I'm Mutia by Moman, so was Gadia Kwaso. Yeah. One shadow so one shadow who can some of the Mrensus ye be by a man by a mra, your friend of Fiscal Discipline Act. Yeah. Say ye Jina Samrano so said by ya, Sabosian ye Quacoba, Nasa Sikani Yedia, Yenini Bebre, Yenni Manimroso, Nanso to say your President Mahama Kayano, Omano Nana Neda, and I'm on to Omudian Yahuye, Yahuni said, Sika won me, Sika won't be that, Sika, one no, and ne. Sika wonya ebo abrado eno na okocha asase woje e wo bosia bokwaso woje so a wonfa nya bibia dabi ede mfasodie beba ya e bebo ama eye sika na hode no atintim what it try nanum sa de ye no ma eso ni mfaso good and ose ni nyina kan bi na ma ye sika sem no aba form no na so mo ba wo mo be so mo so and afa so wo mo bedi e ka na da ye so no wo mo bedi huduma ya ensisa ye ne IMF wo a eya da ne da nyina ye pesika fro mo nche o say eja mo nko mo de mo ka no nche na mo koye nsiesie no san nsiesie na mo ntuo no president Mahama say oba wo ntwam ye beko so ato aso ba wa bra wo ye wo nyina no so na ye hye ho so wo sikadie mu na ye hye ho so wo ye sika ye benya ho na ye bo ho ban e de ye no ma eso ba ba faso de ai Dr. Peter Boama Otukono e wa ho man so doc ye mo ache bo akwa ba
Major so kwame.
But I say, so what's your opinions on here? Because I mean, you know, the fact that we are CSO relations officer. One is civil society organizations this year. Now we didn't come out. Me, I just said, no, my President Mahama Bro so no numre. One more time, Kapa. But what I would to another would you know when you want to so say, and some of the one I am tied to him and a gun of wind in any President Mahama wants one way to another.
Yo, kwame ni edi kan maminchia watie for na emese enrade na adesonko ade nika se dan ni bia waje bretrase eti President Mahama no obenya abotoyem se biwo ndaso ewo ho na yese achiaso mbuye echina bebu nyina na economy ayi ahunyi ya yaudi abidi Ghana for ekum emise enra Ghana ni bia wo hweye eno anopai omadibre ATTB ebenya nkranhye kakra se President Mahama enen for ede niam agu akwemu a se bio betimi agi wo man ya man no akosi papa so na yetimi enya yidi ne nkoso na enra stamina, President Mahama stamina or ability, is what commended because at my age, na na so 3 hours, na or kasa na uyi mano. And yes, you will be sent a question. No, I can't minister of you are in spokesperson for we were he had a full grasp of the entire issues of the country, from crane to crane, A to Z. From economics to agriculture to governance to everything. But to be say Emma said you also ne memory no so sharp. Emma details in ano with me actually mu actually be up masibre you know. I think yesterday was a very great engagement. Na said the okay no my department I mean I'm down as the director no. We've been engaging several CSOs across the country, and not only civil society organizations, but also unions and identifiable groups.
That's right.
Religious and para-religious groups. We've been engaging almost every facet of our society in terms of identifiable groups any partisan. And a lot of issues have been coming up. Issues of and every one of them about the particular sector, about their jobs and all that. And incidentally, yesterday, in the program, maybe WhatsApp, I am getting a message or the other from somebody from an organization expressing excitement about the fact that President Mahama has touched on their issues and all those things. Very famous among them, and as the attention power was a message from the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Transporters and Oil, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union of the TUC. I was sending mom, so he was very happy about President Mahama.
Yeah,
as a more kafa and the vision for Tor, and he was very excited because one major issue and another major issue transport system. And he was happy to say President Mahama spoke about bringing an efficient transport system a bit 24-hour economy and the mention of the restoration of Ayalolo bus na by na anom apake egu maybe a womo emfa enye edumano. And so yesterday was a very comprehensive discussion. Megidi say all across in fact there's a now trip back here a natural resource governance institute. And UK Ghana Gold program. Engagement, the dialogue be essential. Now they natural resources. Acquire your gold, any oil, any energy transition processes on how to leverage the energy transition opportunities. You see, Ghana oil now you want to acquire a befaswa. yenye investment ne beka a ebeche enche bia na enwu nye bi any all those things. And President Mahama was very explicit on energy transition and his vision and how he's thinking. Said by now, as he invest immediately in the oils and make sure we benefit from the oil and use the oil now, natural gas now, one of the transition fuels for energy. No, use no, build power, gas. Processing plant.
Yeah.
So that we would be able to harness the potential in natural gas to help us in our energy transition process. And that is also very exciting because people are concerned about acquiring handle your mining gold, acquire a gold no your smuggle no acquire Ghana yenya free mo your oil your agreements ni na Ghana yenya free mo. Na ya nkasa nyankopon de ache yen so no oman no enya so mfaso and how President Mahama is really looking at a natural resource management program ebetimi ama Ghana yenya so mfaso mo na small scale miners insu ni omo problem ama eno ene ama smuggling akosoro oni mi say Ghana gold ayetu na 40% of the gold ayetu no in the small scale mining.
40%. 40%.
40%. Now, only we say the contribution to Ghana, your revenue, less than 2%.
Wow.
Less than 2%. Not just acquire a managing sector in the gold from to the year. But gold, no, if I be a copy of Masuma, or more Munya foreign exchange in your own paso, Ghana for Enya. Intino, one major issue, President Mahama, and also Nelson. But most importantly, let me come back to the economy.
That's right.
Bread and butter issues. And they are not Ghana food in because, and then we know Kasi, Ghana need Obenya Ebiania D. Pa na Ghana say Ghana for almost over a million multi-dimensionally poor almost over 800,000 multi transfer and no a major issue yes it me na say you bet me affect but quite ben and you bet me affect and then President Mahama now so ne niswadi hunu what the boa ama agriculture kriayo etimi ejina ne naso kriayo ebejina ne naso a ejina abai committee ebia me kase Ghana your economy so show the structure of the economy on krabatamians in krabatamians Greek industry and services na Greek contribute to CCR no better 19.8%. For the fund say quarter 20%. But Greek so na the only sector of the three sector now sectors now boss no. And no and the controls are mienu na aka. It is Greek ni na na so mienu na aka no so be na na so exponential. It no President Mahama and this ready who say Ghana must be fully food secure. You can food secure that. The purchase ediane no ebedua no baye no ama na buso ama aye available na ewie so a ya said ye be ya ama eduane ne bo no aye full aye affordable
obi enya
yes say be affordable and na say ye be hwe na eduane no so be nutritious en ko ye say eduane bi akeke ye pe eduane ntine eduane bi akeke ne ye pia eba ne saa Ghana for ya hoode no entimi engina ne na so yi eti no ese nutritious ebetimi aboa ama aduane ehu na wo mu ni nyina no ye betimi anya na last but not the least it must be sustainable. Food must be sustainable and onye aduane di no chena wa anya aduane and you are not food secure eti aduane na ese na every time no ne bo ewo fom na ekwan ben na obetimi afa so aye say niam bi no ye wono bae and ye wo protein sources abai any swadi hunu ne say wo betimi aboa ama commercial farming etimi ama ne humene so e Ghana because yeah no kriayo no do na smallholder farms okura 2 acres 3 acres bi na wado na so no ye need commercial farming ventures e Ghana and most of the small acre farms so no mo womo asabio prebiasa we need any alternative sources of income you know ne na kadia wode ye adwuma ne kra na eyedin tani sabi nyaka akadia ebetimi aboa no ama watimi aye na adwuma ne nti the president Mahama said ye be set a farmer services centers that farmer services centers na e be Ghana afana nyina wo district ya mu no adwuma ebe ne se ebeboa akuafo no amomo input at low cost na inputs no ye kan wa se ye clear se ye kan agrochemicals ye can one can get machines and then you matrata adwuma ebe plow asase na ma implement ye de be harvesting the harvesting we are kwan a ebe fa so near store any sadema eti no ni na no akuafo nketen na wo mo yes adwuma we utimi so machine was asase we so na wo mo nyina wo mo produce na we establish the right market linkages more and no obo se aduane no ebebu but we problem aye wo mu sisi aban any conscious effort bia what they mobilize invest in agriculture now that make us offer 2024 budget aban year now o share the amount of money how much they call the office of the president now o share the ministry of agriculture the amount of money what they alcohol then you realize that this government is just not serious with agriculture. But the thing about agriculture, the thing about agriculture, so what we share now to turn your money in there, and in Buddha and Akokonamaba, then Chinamo because you've been able to produce enough grains to feed the protein sector of agriculture. Then Ugo will say food prices never down.
Yeah.
Ghana, inflation, you know. I saw your meaning in food inflation. President Mahama, president. In fact, time where vice president to time where a president. One of the period in Ghana's history. The longest single digit inflation. The reason is very simple because we were able to tackle the case of food inflation. It can also with the case of food inflation, you reduce the general levels of inflation. And as inflation is a buffer, amount interest rate buffer, and it has implication also on the exchange rate. So I say, it's an open say, a economy no, a boost to economy, local economic activity because we be to access to financing.
Yeah.
So I say, it's me Eddie set next move, and that is one very important thing. Yes, sorry, I see a monetary inflation targeting. Engineer contractional measures, control money supply in this annual. That your money in an obey na you previous one share Ediane, you cannot achieve any inflation target.
I want to President Mahama didn't answer. So what share Diane Buono? And Diane Bush no say any Bono. I want to any answer now.
Na President Mahama said we are busu na aduane no so ayefo so ati ase na bia no so yebenya BND so ati ase you know we are looking at a comprehensive redevelopment of our food systems food systems aduane the kind of food that yedi and the kind of food stuffs that you be grow it's an ocean the program President Mahama can was some time ago targeted some staples as staples so yet be a whole thing in abeta honomo you big grows as staples so many vegetables and I don't know many say Ghana the total consumption of tomatoes or mamuha bears 1.2 million metric tons.
That's right.
Now 1.2 million metric tons, 800,000 metric tons. The crayfish man on any. Now 800,000 metric tons. No, almost $400 million. It's in Homano. The Afibia, the best of $400 million. The copper tomato. And I may say Ghana, and then the household income, your consumption. A report, World Bank report, actually say 40% of household income, 40% goes into only tomato consumption. 40%.
Sika
into only tomato. Other than foodstuffs in bio. Other foodstuffs in bio. And you know, it means that we have a lot to do when it comes to food and controlling food prices. And as I said, not only our food prices correct, then your fundamentals are being stable. So suppose inflation no ever form.
Okay.
And the thing is that when you are able to grow more food as well, it cuts down on importation of food because Ghana if you know the duana imported. You see if you be more. And one also the crash you be so at the yeah the average credit in Lomi.
And I noodles. But idea about doc, your friend say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ebo Bibiso say, Diana Kane Mampani, Srani Mampani, Kutua Champon, Yan, your friend, Operation Feed Yourself. Waba, Wobey Bibisa, na Bibisa no idea.
And one and I make one to me. You see, investments are. What the best agriculture sector and a bema operation feed yourself. There are key details to that policy. President Mahama and only the strategy in the manifesto. But what we are seeking to do is the block farming. Block farming, Yabema, for opportunities. Na sabio omanya input support no and ebeboa wo mo ama wo matimi ayi adua wo mo do ba ye na wo mo mbre enkoye sikasem na ekwan a ye be fa so ama sabio mechanization ye de beba agriculture mu na anano so oka ho asem acquire technology, I leverage AI. Ama etimi aboa kriayo ewo mamuha. Yeah, it said the beya ebema na ye easy, ebema na ye encouraging, motivating so be you kria. So
that's right.
Because you could kriayo now try no buy and no be am the top. Next season undo. So
okay.
And the be on more Ghana Hanoma said you previous as one year irrigation. I want to mean Okosirema, President Mahama invested thoroughly under the first regime on building irrigation dam. That Nasia Nabugo project here, ABC and Iswa, start here. Yano buy on Wajatui. That irrigation systems Nina, Sietini, Eddie Sin in Aswa. Na a Kiafu was as na eight year and no buy it throughout the year. There's going to be a lot of food.
That's right.
Particularly vegetable. Because vegetables, no. But more Muslims say, when you enough water, ultimately, it will be here, and Krahakano, urban agriculture, a Kriaphobia, Siema, in Sukasia, and others in Sutaya, the honey got no. Suppose the normal baby cabbage in it and Yama. You understand? It's when these streams of insurance is made available, it allows easy agriculture.
Very well.
But as I mentioned, urban agriculture, must be as part of your programs, urban agriculture is going to be encouraged heavily. Said the Beya, who fee na Okrawas as it be one Fikiria. Put me at the year, Kayokakra. Said the Beya, who bet me a producer. Vegetables be a bit
very well.
So it's a collective effort. So be a but most importantly, no. If I say you man no economy be a piano here for said you nano money of animal in craft one. Piano for Ghana media. You know, and only acquire President Mahama ebetimi abua we boost to local production you know we yes our raw materials in the feed industry and almost started feed industry I mean agro industry Most of the industries, you know, use as their raw material.
And industry,
mango.
in the industry, crayons on the Babuama, Yanoma, yeah, or my gun, Aquaman. After all, more than 24-hour economy, but
it's our paper. Cohort can be the Kwaku, you know. It's raw materials now produce for industry. And so industry in your various segments of the industry. It's all the segments now, one way or the other, use some agro inputs in their manufacturing. You see, the 24 hours in the 24-hour economy. Almost all the industries are going to be incentivized to produce 24 hours. What it means is that you need more input. Why invest in agriculture? Now, our agriculture output now and Kosora. You will not get the raw materials to feed the industry.
Yeah.
It's global the industry, you know. As we work grow industry, we have now raw materials. There's a import raw materials, no. Important so and the more pressure ever to currency. So now currency no depreciate affect the price of the commodity that we produce from the factory. It knows the store no na niama ebo so. And so the foundation to the survival of our economy is to get the agricultural production right. When we get it right, bring down food prices, bring down raw material prices, we bring down the prices of production for the industry. And that makes the industries want to grow more or want to produce more. Fantastic. And for that matter, create more jobs. So it may create more jobs. It's the whole idea of the 24-hour economy. No? As last time I'm explaining, the whole idea is to provide an incentive regime. Will be more Ghana. No, will be increasing the productivity by 3 times because then usually we work on only one side of the clock, 8 to 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But there are 3 working sides of the clock. It is as 3 in Juma, a bit near Bois, Ama, Juma Dieno, and as a economy, no, and also.
Very well.
So, until the way and Swadinwa, President Mahama, any year.
Yeah, but don't say paradox, any church move, said was your 2 or what's now. What was at the end talent of a 24-hour economy? Won't be fair no qua, while Brown fa. Agree can is ready who in your day and matter and I'm finding in answer. Then this ready who know the map or how ya come and the crowd be fast as yes, you know. Would be ye no qua brown funding in and matter baton. You better ask and a boy. Dr. Peter Boamo took on NDC Interparty and CSO Relations Officer and officer of Science Agricultural Economics. I think a bakery you now. You be come pempen swafo fro. Secretary no ye be biem. Amana do bia kon na wo feature ho no wetu adua nuban wo ho titru vegetables what did you make us say and afi so commercial farm na wo kan wasam no say enfu kese no aye di mfidi akese e de ye te say the America for ne China for ye
nyina bi no
amanfo kwa amana no mo kwa Italy akotiti ntosa eya na efuo no nyaketo o nyakakapo
akasim
kese pa they di mfidi ne ye dai na no na be fidi industries and as factories are what one now we operating within a 24-hour economic space e be so one
in 10 times
aboa ye made in Ghana products ye de be kokko mama hodo so e dis kan be mamu ama ye sika sama dey e jira na so e some president mama e kan be no by ba eye free SHS here o say na anu ya na make say abanyo mark in Dominica politics inti enye say bia emofra no dache debi na yo o mani swade hu na say o mahia de o debi politics inti no say da bagina monten ye de mra nsusu ya ba NDC form person mo ba kan ho ne tinti mra say da ba ya ye de be boa ma free SHS no akoso mra nsusu ye ne we ya budi ene Dr. Clement Park be ba obecheche mu ache but ye his excellency John Mahama eka fast amere nsusu ye ya ye say ye de ba ye mre tintim free SHS no eni ye hwade we mame.
I support any bill that will improve our education. 1, to make it sustainable. 2, to afford quality education for our children. And so any bill that would achieve this is something that I'll support. I haven't seen the bill, and I don't think that it has been subjected yet to stakeholder consultation. But we would want to see the bill, and I'm sure that when Cabinet has approved it, it will be laid in Parliament. And when it's laid in Parliament, as a parliamentarian, the normal action is to refer it to the committee responsible. And I'm hoping that when that bill is referred to the committee responsible, it will do the proper stakeholder consultation so that we all can be on board. Because if you're making fundamental changes to our educational system, I think that parents, teachers, and everybody who has a stake in education must be involved. I don't know.
What did you can I say? Yes, I'm 15 years now. Madam Raba, Debbie, when you are for Nkasai, when you are church for Nkasai, no, when you are yes, you are for Nkasai, one day again to a tour, and free been for what good, who 50 years, so it is no man no say, so my young quadia, only problem, Machita, good. And also, you idea here was some day. Eh, Dr. Clement Park by your betua, sound common so. Okay, I beg you, see here be a numa, Yemen Numa Busso, yeah, and Yama Mebruna. A Sabre, I can say Ghana for Mebru, and he has said, yeah, and into them Pempino Bones, Oquembes is near. A high commissions I would do not Ghana for Mebuna to Santino or one. We will so be as someone some requirement on it. I am Jack Pine. Good, you could probably be a day. I celebrate and Sabacomano. Good, he's a Metamigana, no, only Juma, Juma, sir. It is Presamama say, the man was shut and woman, or far barefoot in Tefidia, and the Yasunoma Mutimedia. What was it? Sabia is to seek our hopao. Yeah, Sabia no so, a Juma or hopao. Yeah, 18 and I don't know, Mokan say. Sa kodi no e wo se ye gina so na ye de boana mabunu ye dai enye adwuma wo so wo san bai 1 million jobs wow and I wo hwe animu se ye be fa kodi so e de aboa ama mabunu na nya good agora ye hwe.
The NDC promises this, and it was in our 2020 manifesto, that we shall train 1 million coding professionals in demand of digital skills for growth, business process outsourcing, and knowledge process outsourcing ecosystems, ensuring that no one is left behind in this digital revolution. 1 million coders, I mean, just think about it. And I believe we can do it. And this is our plan. It is our pledge to you. And no Ghanaian will be left behind.
No Ghanaian will be left behind. Digital age one. Yeah. And it's the 4th industrial revolution. Good. And mama what do I sorry or mama home so when we are no man was swimming in that. And ya bear for yeah, and over you. They say you will be I bear for Nyansapedia be a friend artificial intelligence. Sabia yoning in I you bet me yeah, Ebabwa. Yeah. President Mahama said the Nisha di say Ghana Nibia, yeah, Ebenya access to cheap quality internet. Titia. Sabia will be our Ghana fan. Internet no ebe ya dia obetwanya ani busuafo ne bonsoafo good na betwanya so dia e dia ya wo no ma bebre last one ketasza ne proye ya amafo de tata no ya no de talitali no ya e no say dwani ba ko bisa sa question no say sa dia na tata no ho no one wo hunu ne sen e na feso dia no ya fa ketasza ne proye ho good di okay ni
policies will be to set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements above $5 million threshold, or as shall be recommended by Parliament. Transparency and accountability are the keys to fighting corruption, and we'll fight corruption by creating an office that will dynamically scrutinize all government procurements, coupled with a lean government of no more than 60 ministers and deputies. And I guarantee you that we will come out victorious in this fight against corruption. Developing the agriculture and agribusiness sector with specialized zones in all regions with support from the farmer service centers and Exim Bank. Ladies and gentlemen,
procurement you procurement a year $5 million. Procurement $5 million. wɔse wɔbɛte baaso nkuo bi a saa baaso nkuo no na ɛbɛhwɛ so sɛ boro $5 million a saa baaso nkuo no bɛfeefie ɔma ani saa na ɔmahwehwɛ biribiaa mu good sɛ yɛ koro gyee ansa ne yɛma saa adwumadie no anaa namantuo no yɛ dɛn akɔ so nti saa kuo no ɛna bɛscrutinise any procurement bi a ɛyɛ above $5 million office of the special prosecutor obi bisa sɛ wɔba wɔde ne nsɛm because na mede me sɛ ɛka yɛ dɛn mamina obeye na adwuma what you say na fe so ma adwen se mo be ma ba mu no mo hwe ye eti woni mu wa mo hwe na said ya mercy me hwe se omo ma awi oman ni sika no omo ma di oman ni sika omo ma se oman ni sika omo MPP mu no said ya be hwe se mra no e be di no sa pepe sa so na wo hwe wo wi ofo nsa no that's why the wash wo sa what did you make good wo ba ban ni mama ye wa dwen se ho na wo ba ye dai wo ba fum sika good and asa wo ba wie sika wo ba ma ban ni no ye wa dwen se wa bra wo ban ni ye wa dwen se aban ye japade ya wo ntimi nyi wo sika nya dai enko because ade no wa bra no so wo ntimi we ma ban mu so wo ba du sika wo na sika nyina wo nsam wo de ba to hotel gabi wo de kwa akoto asase bi gabi wo de kwa akoto aban bangalo bi gabi wo se sa de no twinton tan ye twam tinton tan ye twam good says he na ochira esibio tititia eti wa bra wono no wo hwe se mra ne omu a omafom sika ibe eni ebedie no sanso na wa beba na aban mu a ho beba asem no and ye wanya no clearing agent on me clear woni wo onya agent emra ne ni wo bedi titi simple eti do die na di wo keta so ne proye no ensam no doso enoma pi no kai and you see akura wa bra ye ni sie no ni enti na questions no doso ni enti a ye cheye no it's simply because within the past 7 to 8 years enoma ye ni ani ehunu enoma ato ye so my Ghana ye kase ye trase kan wasama ade ba chiye ama ade achiye bio ama ade achiye bio enu ti na questions na dey adoso enye se nsentwefo no mo kasa wa o enye se kwame minka na me kasa wa o se nra me nia no nsentwefo wo mu bisa question na ensida anka ye ma ya kwanya nka wa hwa ene ka bisa ba ade no ba ya question ton good question ton with John Mahama wa hwa ka no na besi because and some are to ye for the past 7 to 8 years some doso and thank God say no John Mahama nya bre nya botre cheche nsemu china ni line na ni so ade hunu adi one pupunity one mobo wa one yansem kwa one yasiri gabi wode ani bra ni obuo kwa so eche nsemu kire Ghana fo mo kwa so afo madwen kire no mo susu ye mbata dwumade na chi wa bra ye kwa anim ye dane en waba ye ba ye di mfoni kase ye bremo basa bra die pa hwi amane ya maya ayo enyo ya ne wom ye peso bia ba adwabo na sibi na asem ye wo ye mu oka na mane ye kunsum yemfa mu mai motrobodo yemfa mu mai mosempa That's right. For you can see for TVXY is at a Power 97.9, Power 979 Facebook Live. Let me catch us at Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. What the Medimosis Garlic capsules about. What you know, Ceylon cinnamon so now when you draw about Buama Moja and dear Fusani ye. When you draw about check your cholesterol level, when you draw about you feeling Kikawa and you're free with you. I'm what do when you draw about Bo buying every year about Buama what day Abedina Wapom when you're Pomoding. And your Medimosis Garlic capsules, Boda Pharmacy, Herbal Shop. You be my strength and hope. Be a war, my gun and the Ghana for Nina. Osabeka Biato, Samson Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. Across the year, what the diabetes score better the time, what the typhoid fever better the time, what the hypertension score better the time. Good. And passion common with a toya. MI Oban Tinka, Fakwa Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. And Pemunsa Yadia, Madadia, stroke. Was it once was it? Messi was see doctors, papa. Oh, and then we in Guanjan, and see doctor, papa, Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. And any other Gemma BBJ, dear John Mahama can. I did a dream. Oh, yes, a come baby, but Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. Shamacha dental barrier. On the post station, no idea the ASL Dank Ghana Highway Authority, Omo Yard in Accra Ministries, Accra with him, with the Uchipa. A Jen Quadro, woman school for the deaf, no idea the Musha, Kumasi Ahinama Kokobe, from 0244068447, Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center. Who almost is here? I can't carry now a year, Madam Time Bomb. I bet I say, now you're the Let's Talk Education Consult. Give me the opportunity, Education Time Bomb. As you just so, I catch you say, Sabi and Cray Baba Maquino. From LTEC, Let's Talk Education Consult. Said by your summer school, no. Ubenya so fast walk. What did you make it? Ye boy be a bofran niso, ye be na dream said by ya. I bet for the ye, a beco quanenzano. Oh, baby, or mine, home baby, the dam for any so, the dam penny for any so. Oh, mine that baby and antiaco. I bet for him, dear, wouldn't be a worry. It's if I'm bofran bra. No man just send him the AB. But an entity a bofran when Yaku draw, will beg you casa. Was said yes, it's a yagri wabra yam pupuyeti, Debbie, or Momo Santity, Debbie. Oh, Zabo Fran Ankasa, a bed din horn Wankasa, a bit of a body trim, Eddie trim, fantastic one, Biaba. What you say? Your Bob of Fran with creativity. Yeah. So be assertive. Oh, that's the kind of building a Let's Talk Education Consult. A year sukumo, a team of Frano, for what do you bosuminsia? It was in your wedding fiancé, was in a bosuminsia, or go day, or what entity, Madam Time Bomb, I'll bet you much. From 0249 069 821. You should bet your call Teshin West State, Mango Street. Let's Talk Education Consult was a building the future through children. A Jana son of pay. Jaso pa. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Sam Framano. Oh yes. One man from anyone yet the come. Minia Samoki Tete. TV's wife. TV wife. 7 in another can use TV Africa. Was it none home for come back? Was it what here John Mahama? A bro bought affirmative action. And Menensu Siena was a better. Was speaker said was Sabre one shena and Branian pass it. Number year Jumano was it one who's a no president or a dream pa had a Magana ma. Oh yes, no be a 1 4 bars and a bed tree. What 4 bars and a bed tree. Obia and your baby I should get or Bani Trabo Bill, sir, or bow one in dear or Bifuma or bow one who from Ghana Dana Comaso. My goodness. And now I'm a man for no boss. I was a bit now or education ministry. BBC says here, what is one word to say the buyer? Yeah. You bet what can be for Kaka doctor. You bet what can be sir, and you're for Kaka doctor. And then because I'm in good baby. You're for Kaka foul. Mr. President Mama say 1 day free SHS buy. Free SHS within this 4th Republican dispensation. What you say? Ebra na ya tregu ye mra pon ni mu. Say ye bedru brebi. Ye de boase tokwa so. Yeah. Ebe hwe se ntoaso suku no. Aban afaka ni bi no. Woman na de by 2015 no pa wontoma. Yeah.
ama the then candidate Kufado.
Yes.
Abo mampanyin Mahama baso say odi enu aba.
Mahama say we otrofo no say na dance ni we fa.
Abrochiri.
Was we dey na dance ni wa abefo tenten video na. Eti ba bia wo bia fa.
Na Google.
President Akufo-Addo launch and I say Akufo-Addo launch President Mahama over free SHS. Google it is there.
Ghana have the
I googled it last night. I googled it this morning. A while ago, I googled it. What's over to Google. I don't see no. Actually,
no be open me a sempty also about the Women's World Bank, Baba.
Women's Bank. Women's Bank.
Or the Mia Bank, Baba.
But I said the entire
women
because a Mary
say once I grab
the yard. No, what Mary Asimino says, Sikaniwa. Obana Baba Sisa.
Midasi.
It is Sikakurabia. And my bet video Muatoso. No Majuma Yono, Esipino. Mahamas Oba, what the
Obey, Kaka doctor.
Was I?
Wait. Gone.
I was your
Daily Post, Mami Fefiase.
That's right.
I was the one who launched free SHS. How can I be against it? John Dramani Mahama. And run some Nibia Kaino. And then at the Daily Post at the Abba. And I'm about to also money swine. Sika swine. As NPP hires 4,000 supporters to Kumasi tomorrow to beautify violent, uncouth, and arrogant Napo's tattered image.
A liar.
A liar is Baumia. He has a running mate and he is arrogant. Arrogant.
It quacks like a duck. Walks like a duck. It's a duck. It barks like a dog. Walks like a dog. It meows like a cat. It walks like a cat.
Meow. Nisubangani. Kwama mitrasun komenim. Me the Daily Graphic and a better Sabri. What's a 595 cases backlog? CJ justify the India woman here, the pub and Numako. Kwame do you want here? And then President Mahama at the assembly twiggy was Yanti be dawa yabakwasemu. I can raponish say, Mampenina the befree nipim. I got some swanko for say, I'm a word you may be sir. That was a Nibia, sir. But wait here, Chief Justice, and this is Yanaba Tuga. And I'm Mampenny Asom, so Obabe. Meanwhile, okay, you made a punk rune muswa. Any anamontubi and ye too, and your sacra, you made a point in one. Never be a daddy professor. Sir, a year Supreme Court one, ye pack a judge for Gono. And was he a TV through baby, a tea break? Yeah. President Mama can no can be a winning my back was a mobile when him the SC, and what my gun a piano. A baby a dance here, sir. Everybody a dance. So, baby, when you are here, quiet. Come Gruffy, woman say, woman, young Gruffo, uncle school, woman in Brass, one from running. What do you want you say? Come, cases, there's a Omega J. What's the cases I want here 595? I judge for your Mugu, woman to me, 8 windy. Kwame, my main country, say, it is the cases in Yanache. Yabisa, as a Missa, 80 yellow, said the cases are also at this time. On my gun, a sick as someone, and as I was here, say a horse, where you sick a diamu, one more my idea sick. At this time, I was here maintaining fiscal discipline. And as I say, yes, a funny pan being called Supreme Court. My main country is a 24-hour economy labor. Sa cases within 2 weeks, you're back learning now. Yes, it's simple cry. It's a meeting here 24-hour economy. Right. Calling Baumia Kasembi and a Daily Graphic I capture on page 53. Also, Baumia advocate for mobile money as African common currency. Kwa mami kanche o mampeninga be de Baumia here from Ketunima MPP. Says our mobile money critical. Kwa me adina critical. Onya yo. Ena no misha Nigeria fubi. Kwa me mini wong enya nkita hudibi. Na waso mu mami sikebi. Womu ye mobile money wo Nigeria o. So waso mu tua meka wo Ghana. Minini jina ha and transfer sika from Miskam Nigeria na be Ghana. But I didn't okay say Dana. You see an American or see Fanya the maintain one as and no Fanya common currency. Say mobile money say be sending Momo and as a Mizuma sending Momo from Ghana to Nigeria or Nigeria to Ghana, Ghana to Benin or any other country. Sikan your friend is saying. Yes, Unkwande nim. Yes, Unkutono nim. It did not just say ECOWAS leaders and agree upon them say ye babe nya common currency bi no sa adwen no yemfa to change na yemfa mobile money sika money yeso eno na me common currency na yemenya sika baako wa bibi memu atoye ha kwam
sa
kwame ye o de ye na ejo
no wa wo te ase no wo de be kire mu e bia ye ne abo wo de kire
be fa nche mu no bre
boromia
hey wei na wo say ye man akwanya buakra Chronicle also cutting down youth unemployment. Ghana National Fire Service, if Immigration Service, our police for NACOB, anyone can also be recruited Ghana mebun. And the Chronicle the Abba. Also, if anyone be recruited, Kwame, me say unam.
How many months to elections?
Oh, Akabusumi be num.
It is all to no man be say and I dream be university.
Kwame na.
We are Ghana in what for the past 7 to 8 years.
Wa ma wejuma
ye. Ma wejuma.
Akabusumi
4 months.
Na obefi aba.
Aye kwa kwato aba.
So be ma wejuma ye.
So be ma wejuma.
Eye na da.
Wo de tena ho.
Tititia. Herald Nemedrusu Sabre, also security analyst condemns Yoko Head's threat on critics, call for Attorney General's action. Openi Adam Bona.
Yeah.
And now Obeka SMBC. Mamiti wa head of Yoko.
Adodankwa.
You wa fre nankasa ni hukanfo anasen hukeni ebon ntrene na no papa Ibeka mami so babontin say mmom wa fre mami ni mmom wa fre Adam Bona ni hukeni ne mmom wa mbon ntrene bia den na hukan
adenti no friend
u friend na ye den oni wo nkongwesi oni wo nkita wudibi
ana wone netai ko emaku
bisa
wo ne yonko
enu ni asem bisa no
e yade wota ya na
bisa
ye bisa
e asem bisa
e na asie nti a wo friend
etu ko friend ye den
well
so ho
ene won fa nkomokro no metu dwai eno na bi ye beboa ya me ehunu de wo kan se eno kra na se enya do kra
enti kwame unya eye Herald ne bia ubetumi akenkan na onim se na po asabe wo so be franketuni abede jama enti nipa benum ena wo president South so wo be kwakoye eye parliamentary candidate when people amanyoku ni demu ena na po ni nia ba kunsu ka ho bi enti se wonga ese ase busu anche fa mamu na de bia ye ka wo mu se nya no kware no e bia ni
and the way nipa ato santre wo ho no na chese na po wa be nsu a eta fa ako a na wo si nkofo kwan ho
so ho
etu ofiri wona na mafo se hey afedi atadwe ya te kwan na bia ma ye
so ho enti ade no esese nipa benum
interested
ena wo mo pre ne ne se wo mo so wo be kwakọ pre eho no mo bia na no pe unya Herald a ubetumi akenkan kwam te na mi fesi searchlight or the aba also Office of the Special Prosecutor Act Unlawful suit filed in the Supreme Court. Just say nipa bi chem say Office of the Special Prosecutor sa office ho nimu chem say enimra kwamu enti yenga say beguno o ka say no aye radio DM ka
that's right
mu na mo di bai
yeah
afa mu say yense nguno
adai
mu hu say keta hye pro ni adwum ni adokro mo papa yi erutu ho na mo ha mu say dabi
yeah
emo koko apante enti ne ye sa yenye ne de yenguno
yeah
kokro de jong say anadwuma na asem eyi dunya searchlight ni bia obetumi akenka
oh ejana na Samson Ladi aye nene eto no
yeah
the question on e just shem
ojani shem
just shem de chese bufuo bi wo ho
omofo buefo
Ghana fo adwa se dia mamu no esi ko and it's no yes and dwe for my kwan se yen kire adwen te say de ye da ne da nyina ye ba radio so aye ya wa bra ye nsuro de obi beka no
yeah
wo ma ye nyina kwan se yen sa na obetinsem bibinti na manfo binti binye
mo
bibinti
ena manfo bi worry to
and bra wo atmosphere joma ma create ye no sense and dwe for maybe say asem no what you say oya obi a shenkofo mu ena omo de fa question ni mu mo ena omo de bisaye
so ho
akwanya ni nie titi say president Mahama esa ba biewa sa fa wodie na ye di wo de sense and dwe for say ye dwuma wa bro bi antete ye no yensa beka
enti kwame midirisi no obinfo Kobi Mensa o say won susu sa ubetimi a buekwan no na mansantwerefo mabisa wo se ne nra JDM ubetumi a wo so ni mu unim no o say ani wusu buekwan mansantwerefo mabisa asem na ma Ghana fo nso ente wo
I think say legitimate
at
the president Mahama ye we twasa no
you
it is say wo say wo ne ye pe say da bia ode ne ho toto Mahama da bia wo ya so wo no kra wonim kra chema
yeah
and Mahama social intervention on said they no see bobo ba
ti say
akogaso wo bobo ni yanka da je boy wo bobo ba me ba o mi ato say eh mi ana me kan so eh
eti ba mi so
betimi ya bi kwan no
on say ye mofra no e wo school no o mu bega say
opa
cafe ana obi be sisa anua o say bo so ya yankuto come madam anticate owusu owo kaswa ena na wo se mi ka chose na se na wa chire mamu na jedi ya makasa na nieje o se mi ka chose na wo lovely happy birthday to you anticate owusu Kwam.
Yeah.
So many interest.
But so ma me da say akra kofi da kon. Your birthday wishes ahodo ye kwa anim. Ye babo boni nyina so. But akra wouldn't say ye ka say a year Afro barometer ne report bi aba. But you sure say prem to obre no. What the one man bo bebre. Afro barometer report bi aba kire say Ghana for GD a ewo abato komisamu and afen so ye court and I say ya say ni bia no aba from papa confidence level no aba from papa etunya Afro barometer report na obetima kenka ba me sure say o ye kase bo ahodo edidi anim no yensa dwefo be ba bobo so pense mu e de ama obi a na mansan enya wono chefa ewom ebra so medical catch. Let's talk education consult ma me dietesa ampofenu na metie no kwasi ada no na mo from ye hippopotamus utu say hippopotamus ne kano ekwan ofa so ne omu interact na omu ankasa pe omu kwan a omu de bobo west wa bra ye ntwetwe wo say you laugh with them, you don't laugh at them. Rana metie no mani ache papa Prince K no kra wo fili what delays with the audio no kra auto kra wo fili. Madam Time Bomb baba, let's talk education consult. You media opportunity educational time bomb. Ya babio and I draw that.
Yes.
Atadi so fair. And grana na pamiana. Madam Time Bomb.
Hi, Komi.
Mokodia.
Yamina, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I love your shirt.
I also love you.